Thank you, Krista and Tom. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And, it's our time now to introduce our guest speaker, who happens to be our interim minister, Reverend Cath De Palma. And I asked her, I said, do you ever get nervous when you get up here? She says, all the time. And I get nervous when something doesn't work. So I apologize if I make any mistakes today. So I'm really happy to have Rev Cath come and speak to us today about I can do this thing called wealth, and I know you're all going to enjoy this message. So welcome, Rev Cath.
Good morning. That was a really beautiful song. We do need the strength of a lion, don't we? I think this just goes up. There we go. And since I came in the room a little bit late, thank you for moving us into Halloween. Halloween is supposed to be one of the healthiest holidays we have. You got to face your fears. You get on the other side of them, right? It really is so good to be with all of you today. It's just a glorious day. And, we're continuing the conversation on wealth this month, and you've had some talks leading up by some wonderful people. Gary did just a great job. I got to tell him he had to leave early today. He did a fabulous job on the Indigenous people / Columbus Day. Just let's give him a hand. He said some very difficult things to say, and I want to also give you a hand, or you can give yourselves a hand, for sitting here and listening to it and having the courage, because it takes courage for us to look at our past and to, own it. That's really the only way that we can ever transcend it and get anywhere. So let's give yourselves a hand too. Yay. And then last week we had Ukwala, the medicine man, and that was a very special gift. I, of course, wanted more of him. So much wealth we've been experiencing here. And, we typically think of October as the harvest month. And currently I'm reading this beautiful book. Anyone hear of the book Braiding Sweetgrass? Oh my gosh, I am nursing the book because I don't want it to end, and I want to just savor every precious moment. And Sandy Kimmerly is the one that recommended it to me when I first got here. And it's by Robin Wall Kimmerer, and she's a member of the Potawatomi Nation. And she says the book is really about how plants and animals are really our oldest teachers. And I really love that idea, because my church of, I don't say my church of origin, no, but my favorite church is being out in nature, because I think that nature really speaks to us, and it brings, it just fills us up. It aligns us. We don't even have to do anything. All we have to be is in that energy. And I had a squirrel. His mouth the other day was just loaded with, I guess, acorns, and ran right across my path. And I thought, okay, he's got a message. Squirrels are the Boy Scouts of the animal kingdom. So be prepared, get ready, and make sure you save. Always save. That's there. So I love to connect. Anyone love the languages of love? Anyone familiar with those? Those are really wonderful. Well, I do believe that animal totems are a language where we can, help us to connect with that inner world and that metaphysical world. So this idea that we are in a reciprocal relationship of appreciation is what this book is about. a reciprocal relationship of appreciation with trees and plants and animals and things, all of Earth, the solar system, beyond and more than words can even express. We're in this relationship, and it goes beyond what most of us have been brought up thinking or believing. We've kind of, we're coming into a more multi-dimensional world because we're multi-dimensional beings, but it's taking us a while to go from 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions to the multi, but we're getting there. So even when we say we are one with everything, we have no idea what that really means, right? We're just beginning to get a taste of what it is to live life that way with a greater understanding and appreciation of that. It seems like our world, we're in this one-sided relationship where it's us and we are admiring the tree or we're admiring the flower, but it's not a relationship necessarily. We're not seeing it as it is contributing to us. It is responding to our love and admiration. It is responding to our energy as well. And as it does, it has a better bloom. It becomes prettier. And then it passes those genes or whatever you call them. I'm not a biologist. It passes that onto its offspring and creates more and more beautiful plants and flowers and trees and all of those things. We play a part in that to the degree that we become aware of that, So as we give that love and attention, they grow and we grow. And the life here becomes much richer and deeper and more beautiful. So don't be afraid of talking to animals and trees, or even you can do it not nonverbal, because they're picking up. They know what you're saying. So if you get accused of being a tree hugger or something, I got accused of that once, and I was like, if that's the worst thing, that's okay by me. And maybe they're just maybe in plant talk, they're saying, look at how marvelous this being is before me. You can pretend to have those conversations. It kind of helps get us in that mood, get us in that place. So these relationships are all in place for us, and we are the ones that get to develop them and to make them our own. It's like love is waiting to be let into our lives. And it's up to us to initiate contact. And so many opportunities for us to practice that every day with people and, things. This adds so much to our life. And it increases our flow. That's what we're kind of talking about today. So everything here exists for us, as our wealth. I love the Abraham teaching, because I think there's such clear science of mind. And they say that abundance, we resist abundance when we work too hard or struggle. Now, usually we hear somebody say, you need to work harder. But they say when we work too hard and we struggle, we actually block the flow. We actually stop the flow. They also say that it's not about luck, it's not about favoritism, it's not about being born into, wealth. It's about allowing it into our lives or resisting. Anyone do any resisting? So we say, I can't have that, that can't be for me, I'm not good enough, whatever we say, or there's not enough. All of those things are blocks, and so we're not allowing. And allowing is really getting in alignment with what is the truth about how life works and our relationship to it, and Abundance is the natural outcome of living a certain way. And that's what I love about this teaching, and that's what I love about Centers for Spiritual Living, is because we're coming here to learn a different way, to train our minds to a different way of living, a different way of looking at things. Abundance is the natural outcome of living a certain way. You know, we were meant to succeed. Life wants to succeed through us. It's all set up for us to experience wealth in whatever way is meaningful to each and every one of us. It's kind of a unique thing. What someone feels is wealthy doesn't feel the same to someone else. It varies. But we get to have our own version of it. Here's another good one. I know you're going to love this one because I do. I'm assuming that, but I think so. Reduce your workload by 30% and increase your fun load by 30%, and you will increase your revenues by 100%. I didn't make that up. This is I'll blame that on Abraham. And they also say you will increase your productivity by 10,000%, if there is even such a percentage. But I think you get the point. More fun, less struggle, more results on all fronts. Do you like that? You know, life is just so different than I was raised to believe or, you know, brought up. It's just so different than what we thought. And that's what I love. It's just so different than what we thought. And that's what I love about just learning and maybe even remembering what we already know. For myself, one of the biggest things that happened that changed my prosperity consciousness around was I started bringing my wholeness, WHOLENES, to the table every day. And the more that I did that, my prosperity flowed. Now, what's my wholeness? It's seeing myself as whole. We say, as spirit, we are whole, we are healthy, we are complete, we are whole, versus my incomplete self. Now, how do we come to life as our incomplete self? We are not feeling enough, we are feeling inadequate, we're caught up in the condition that happens to be, you know, going on. You know, we're not stepping into our day or our life with our sort of big self, our spiritual self that's in form. So do we wake up like that every day? No. How we wake up each day, though, is not an indicator of how the rest of the day has to go, right? We get to do something about that, and that's the purpose of having a spiritual practice. So whatever it is, we need to put what's going on and step into the real us as we start our day. You know, put that outfit on. Claim that as the reality that is. Being our whole self. We get so sidetracked, don't we? There's just so many things pulling our way, or a to-do list, or people pulling at us, you know, wanting things. But none of these things are as important as making sure that we're coming from our true whole self, our spiritual self, our real self. And none of these other things are true indicators of who we are they? They're not. We're something so much greater. Now, once I made that distinction, an interesting thing happened that I never expected. And it never could have happened until I got to the point where I was coming to my day and to my world with my wholeness and that's a conscious decision. What happened was, to my surprise, I started seeing the world as whole. Because I was coming from whole, I started seeing the world as whole instead of incomplete, not enough, imperfect, all of those other things. Because you can't see the world fully unless you're coming from that full place yourself. So that was huge. I stopped seeing just freeze frames of what was happening or snapshots, things unfolding in midstream that, previously I would have. Now I'm not free of this totally. In the past and still a little bit in the present, there are things that sound alarming or disturbing, like being hacked. Instead of seeing those isolated incidents, I saw perfection in the middle of what looked like imperfection. I saw the divine plan. Now, is there a divine plan to being hacked? I don't know it yet. Maybe it's a call for love. What if we looked at our oppressors, as soon as we turn ourselves around, what if we looked at our oppressors as really calling for love and flooded them with love? What if we did that? Do you think that would change things in a hurry? I haven't heard anybody say anything good about that. So maybe it's time that we have to look at that. When someone is kind of pulling our chain, we have to look at it as a call for love and respond the way that we do from our whole self, which is from a place of love. Who knows? Maybe that person will get a better idea for their own life. Maybe they'll get a life. Who knows? I mean, I'm not in charge of the universe. I just do my part. We just have to do our part. And that might be a part. The other huge difference that, these are two. The other huge difference for me regarding wealth was taking the focus off of thinking about money or dollars and putting it on the word divine substance. Now, we talk about that. We know that. Especially as practitioners or ministers, divine substance. The word money, when we talk about money, it has a lot of baggage to it. Whatever baggage we had, whatever baggage the whole human race has about it, the Bible, misquote, money is the root of all evil, when the real quote is the love of money or the obsession of money, like an obsessive love of money is the root of all evil. That's what the real quote says. So as much as we love money and what it can do, it's hard not to think of it as an inanimate object. It's hard to think of it spiritually. We've got these, now we have these cards, so we're hardly even touching money. We used to be able to say, I'm seeing God in action as money, and I'm, counting out my money. Now we're just flipping a card, and, our transactions have become quite sterile, and we haven't moved to that place of seeing that as money and God, as God in action. Divine substance is backing those cards. So we have to turn that around. So seeing money as a divine substance was a game changer for me. Because when I thought about divine substance is omniscient. It's all-knowing. It's omnipotent. It's all-powerful. It's omnipresent. That means it is present everywhere. It's everywhere. Our wealth is everywhere, every space, even where we are. It has to be because divine substance is spirit. Another name for spirit, it is God. And making that differentiation made a huge difference for me. When you're thinking about divine substance is right where I am, waiting to be called into being, waiting to be called into form. It's just waiting there. It's waiting for a good idea from us. It wants a track to run on, to create something more out of itself. It's just hanging out. Hanging out. Did you know that? That was a big game changer for me. So what is our real relationship with divine substance? We have to ask that question. Do we understand what it wants? Do we understand that it wants to connect with us? It is there for us. It wants to be a part of our lives, a greater part of our lives. It's there for us to use. Everyone benefits when we create. Everyone benefits when we circulate money. It wants to come out and play. Just like our playful Halloween costumes, of which I guess you'll see more next week. We are the channels through which it flows. We are the centers of divine activity, channels through which life wants to work. And nothing brings us greater joy, and nothing brings life out in us more than to be in this dance with life. It just brings us alive. What can we do to better position ourselves for this relationship? We must know that the one source is the Great Spirit. The Great Spirit is the one source. We have one source. There are no other sources. Husband, parents, jobs, Social Security, retirement, none of that is our source. We have to stay focused on God is our source. The Great Spirit is our source. And like breathing, there is an ebb and flow to things. And we don't need to freak out when it ebbs. We just have to catch our breath before the next big wave comes in. Understand there's a cycle to life, and that we are key players in it. Specifically, what must we do? Nothing opens us up more to receiving than praising, giving thanks, and giving. These are the magic bullets, the magic words. Opening our hearts, it puts us into alignment with our good. Just automatically. We almost don't have to do anything. At some point, we have to break out of the phase or stage where we think that life owes us what's in it for me, and evolve to be a continuous giver, because we cannot outgive God. It will come back to us. It is law. It is law. It is spiritual law, and that is the law that counts. We have to ask every day, what kind of contribution can I make to my world and those around me this day? What do I bring to the table? And there's always something. It could be cutting a flower and giving it to someone, and they just go wild because no one's ever given them a flower before, or recognized them, or just a compliment. That is sowing the seed, putting it out there for a harvest. That's initiating a response, activating a relationship with life where the stakes get higher. That takes us to higher levels of livingness. So we can all do this thing called wealth because it's part of the divine plan. We just have to get our part straight and watch how loved and supported that we really are. We're also in a reciprocal relationship of appreciation with this beautiful center and this teaching, are we not? It's a mouthful. Reciprocal relationship of appreciation. This is a place where we're well fed. And not just with food, there's that too. We want to give, and we want to keep this kind of beautiful work going, this consciousness evolving work going. This is a haven, as it was said. We have a very special thing going on here. So repeat after me. I can do this thing called wealth. I can do this thing called wealth. We can all of us can do this thing called life, because all of life is conspiring on our behalf. It must. And so it is. So join me in knowing that We are standing, we are immersed in divine substance. It is everywhere, equally present, all-powerful, and all-knowing. And so we just have to call upon it. We just have to align ourselves with it, and by action of this treatment, we are in alignment with it now. We know who we are from at the center of our being, which is goodness. It is life. It is energy. It is purity. It is innocence. It is beauty. It is all of these things. We are rich in just being ourselves. And from this divine place, we call into being whatever it is that brings us more joy, more ease, and more fun into our own lives, knowing that it ripples out to many, many others. Just this feeling of being alive and appreciating it all is a major attractor. We are so grateful for this center, for this teaching, for each other, for this beautiful community. All is well, all is unfolding for the highest good of all. Thank you, Spirit, thank you, universe, thank you, God. And please say with me, and so it is. Thank you.